Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. My name is Corey.
And I'm Joelle. And again, I make music, so check me out on J Rose Music Official on all social media platforms. Check out my music. I have some new stuff coming out. And today we're going to be talking about healing from heartbreak and how to trust again, and the whole process around everything that revolves around that. We might share some of our experiences, and it might relate to some of you guys, and we want to create a place where everybody can share their own experiences and to heal together. So we want this to be a judge-free community, and we want to just create a place that's a safe place for some people. I know that some people, we don't have a safe place within our own personal lives and within our daily lives. So if this can be your safe place even temporarily, then that would be amazing.
Also, this is Mimi. Where we just took her for a walk, but there might be some people passing along, so don't mind her. She just wanted to be part of the video. So yeah, healing after heartbreak and learning to trust again. I feel like, in the kind of culture of the dating society that we're in, it's quite easy to get hurt again and again, and I feel like hurt people, and I feel like it's a revolving door of never ending, like people passing on their own traumas and their own experiences onto the next person, and it's easy to fall victim to that, and victim to the circumstances of everybody's just trying to find themselves and trying to figure it out, and in the process, unfortunately, some people get hurt along the way. And I feel like some people recreate, as we were talking about kind of in a previous video. If you didn't check that out, but people tend to recreate those traumas and recreate those pains that they felt and inflicted on other people. And I feel like it's quite difficult to navigate that, and having to like reopen yourself up again every time after you kind of put your heart on your sleeve for somebody, and people kind of, it's possible a potentiality of people taking advantage of that, and people taking advantage of that vulnerability. So it's a difficult conversation to have. I know that for me personally, like, I never really had experiences until after high school, and even then it's just like I was kind of walking through with a jaded kind of lens of trying to fight between living up to the expectations of what's society and like my family kind and my culture kind of like places on me, versus like who I really am and like what I really want from my life, and kind of discovering like that for myself. But I feel like going through relationships prior, a lot of it was me trying to kind of find that piece of myself, I guess, through other people, and like trying to create scenarios and instances where it wasn't really like a fit, but I was trying to make it fit because I felt in my mind that this is kind of what needed to happen, kind of for me to learn and grow, but also to fulfill some sort of expectation that's unrealistic and not true to like how my heart was actually feeling. And in the process, that can kind of leave a trail of disaster and stuff, if you will. So I feel like I too was once like victim of those kind of hurt people kind of scenarios, and it's difficult. And like after going through those kind of relations, like the healing that takes place after, I feel like a lot of people tend to kind of go through like a space of trying to distract themselves instead of actually doing the work. And I feel like I was one of those people for a certain point in time, until I realized that it's not fulfilling, and it's just a distraction and from the real work that needs to be done internally. But I feel like once I started being able to go within myself and like journal and like therapy and like address the root of like all the problems, which was myself, and like my own internal like beliefs and stuff, I feel like that's when my life started to change and turn around for the better. So yeah. What about you?
I feel like my journey was sort of different, but maybe similar, and similar to probably a lot of you as well. So I'm a very reserved person, just innately. Like that's my nature. I'm very, very reserved, and I've always been that way. So for me, I guess, loving people outside of my family, and those familiar experiences, I think that it was very hard for me to even open up to people. So I've had a lot of people within my past try to open up to me and try to, I guess, warm me up and try to get more from me. But I protect my soul, I protect my energy a lot, and I've been like that ever since I was small. So there's been a very few amount of people that I decided to say, okay, you know what, I'm gonna give it a chance. And I have experienced heartbreak, and I think that my experiences of heartbreak, I call them transformations, because I evolved in each and every single time. I guess I got my heart broken, which is very few, just because of my reserved nature. I learned something each time. And I know they say a lot of the times when you have your heart broken, it's hard to trust, because again, to open up to somebody, to get your heart broken in whichever way that happened, and then to do that again with somebody, that's like a whole, it's like a job. Like it's not easy. It's not easy to even open up to friends, you know? A lot of the times there's so many different things that happen, and there's so many outside factors when it comes to those types of things. So when you give somebody your all, you open up to them and you really like show them who you are, like, you know, behind closed doors, and then that doesn't work out, to do that again with somebody else and trust that, you know, this is going to be the person, or this might just be another experience, it's hard. But as I say, the way I took my heartbreaks, you know, within my life, is I've taken them as learning curves and learning opportunities. Because again, I wouldn't have known what it would be like to love somebody outside of my family, in that type of way, unless I experienced it. So, you know, again, the first time I got my heart broken, I was about maybe 16 or 17. It was like a high school thing, high school love. And I remember I didn't talk to anybody in that way, or try to get to know anybody on a personal level that way for a few years, because again, I'm like, you know, it took me however long, like it took me like 4 years to even finally say, you know what, I'm ready to give this a chance, and I'm ready to open up to this person. We talked since we were in elementary school. I gave them a chance when we were in early high school, maybe grade 9, and then it lasted for about a few years, and then unfortunately ended on bad terms, and I ended up getting my heart broken, and then I closed myself off. And then what happened within maybe the 1 year mark of me healing, if you will, I decided to feel a lot better. I started to feel better within myself. I started to learn, and I started to go back and I replayed the whole relationship, and I realized that I was learning a lot more. I matured a lot, and I also learned, you know, how to protect myself better and how to put myself out there. I learned the things that I did right and the things that I could improve upon. And then I started to think, it dawned on me, I said, huh, I'm learning from this. I wouldn't have known what it had been like had I not have went through it. And then I started to go like, you know what? Things happen for a reason. Sometimes things don't work out for a reason, and every season has a new reason. And then I started to feel, I'm like, you know, you don't know unless you try. So for this next relationship, I'm going to put myself out there. I'm going to trust again, because that's how we learn. That is the human conditioning. That's how we learn. We have to try things and experience things to know, and to learn. So again, I started to go through this whole phase when I first got my heart broken. Won't trust anybody again. I'm not doing this again. It's already took me however long to open up to this person. It's not happening. And then eventually I started to say, you know what? It was an amazing experience, because I got to share myself intimately with somebody. I got to tell somebody certain things that I wouldn't tell anybody. And there's a beauty in that, because again, you know, we are all humans and we all go through different things, and communicating and expressing yourself that way it's very therapeutic in a way, regardless of how it ends, because at the end of the day, you learn something each and every single time, and you guys share something. So I always say, no matter if things don't last, the memories will always last, and it will last, you know, beyond us. And so I have some valuable memories, and I had amazing times with this person, and I have a lot of lessons that I learned. So it was such beautiful experiences, and every single relationship that I've been in that ended in heartbreak have beautiful memories. They have good things and they have the bad things, but all in all, the memories outlast everything. I'm still here now and I'm in a much better place within myself, but those memories and those lessons were able to bring me into the mature man that I am now at 25 years old, where I'm able to be a healthy person for my partner, and I'm able to bring a lot of different things to the table that I might not have known had I have went through those heartbreaks and had I have went through those relationships and those experiences. So again, learning curves, different strokes for different folks, but again, memories will outlast even us, and they're so valuable, and they're things that you cannot take away, and you should never take them as a failure. Don't take a relationship that didn't work out as a failure. Take it as a lesson. It helped to better you, and it helped to better that other person. Both of you walked away with a valuable lesson. Both of you walked away knowing what worked and what didn't work. Hopefully you have the time to self-reflect. I always say, after a relationship ends, whether you guys break up on good terms or bad terms, take some time to self-reflect and to ask yourself what you could have done better, what you did that was enough, and where, you know, I guess what you don't, how should I say this in a way that's not controversial? So how to respect yourself more, and how to know your self-worth, and to tell yourself what you deserve from somebody else. Because a lot of the time, sometimes in relationships, you know, you receive something from somebody, and you know, you might not be respected the way you deserve. You might not have been spoken to the way you deserved. The way they would have been loving you wasn't the way that you wanted them to love you. And you have to ask yourself, what do I want from a man, from a woman, from somebody in my next relationship? Was I getting what I wanted from this person? And if I wasn't, what does that look like? You have to ask yourself these questions, so that way you can make sure the next time you go into a relationship, you're walking with caution, and you're walking with knowing who you are, what you are. And again, you know, after your next relationship, that might not work out either. You have to understand that you evolve. As time goes on, you also evolve. So things in which you thought were your standards when you were 16, like when I was 16, they're no longer my standards now at 25. When I'm 35, 45, 55, those things change, and that's normal. But it's good to self-reflect every so often, so that way you can keep yourself up to date with your new standards and with new things that you learn. Because again, we're still learning. We learn every single day. We are forever students in this world, and you will never stop learning. And that's how I always like to look at things. So I guess that's my little tidbit on that. What do you think?
Yeah, I feel like after every relationship, you know, you should come out as a newer version of yourself, a more like refined version of yourself in a way. Like, obviously there's cases in which, you know, some things are unhealthy, and some things that, like, you know, weren't meant to be and weren't meant to last, and that's okay. But at the end of it all, you should still be coming out of it with something you've learned, whether it be like about yourself and about like your worth, or about like what you like and what you didn't like, and like, you know, do the kind of pros and cons of things of that nature, and like coming out with something, you know, something of substance, something to carry on, some lessons learned to carry on into like the future kind of experiences. And, you know, like, don't rush into something, you know, like, I think a lot of people, especially, are afraid to be alone with their thoughts, so afraid to be alone with their emotions, and to address the real pain and the experiences in which they've went through, whether that be through relationships or through you know, through their different childhood traumas. You know, I feel like there's a lot of people that walk this world with unaddressed hurt, and again, like, hurt people. So it's good to take time. There's no rush, there's no time clock on when you're gonna find the person that's right for you. And you shouldn't rush into anything, because I feel like once you do the work, and again, you're gonna always be doing the work to making yourself like a better person. It's an everyday thing, you know. It's an everyday kind of self-discovery until the day we die. You know, we're on this earth to learn and to grow every day, and to treat people with kindness and love. And, you know, sometimes, unfortunately, people can experience like the bad parts of people, but I feel like that can those experiences, good and bad, can shape you into a more stronger individual, and set that standard of what I'm actually worth. And I feel like, yeah, it's easy to also get into a phase of like not trusting people for protection, and to preserve that kind of vulnerability. And it's easy to kind of block off from the world. It's really, what really is a challenge, honestly, is staying open in such a world that's so harsh and so vicious, that'll just chew you up and spit you back out. I feel like it's staying open and staying open-hearted and soft-hearted in that kind of environment is the real challenge. And it takes tough skin, it takes experience, it takes leaning into love and following in, like, the footsteps of like that unconditional love that we can all tap into, and that's in the center of all of our hearts and our core of our soul. Like, but it's a challenge, and it's everyday challenge, and not everybody's deserving of that vulnerability, of that sensitivity. But at the same time, like, there are people who are deserving, and you can't find that unless you try. So it's good to stay open in that regard and stay hopeful in that regard. It's like looking at life through the lens of like a child, and like having an optimistic lens while also being self-aware and discerning of when you're not being treated well, when you're not being like if you're being disrespected, if you're not being treated to the standard that you should, like, of self-respect that you should hold for yourself. So yeah.
And I just kind of want to touch on that as well, because the whole self-respect thing is a very serious thing, because kind of just elaborating on what he was talking about, there's a lot of people who walk this earth and they lack that self-respect, that to the point that they allow themselves to be in situations that they do not deserve to be in, or to be with people that they do not deserve to be in. They also allow themselves to stifle who they are and suppress who they are to feel comfortable and to exist around people that are low vibrational, and to engage into things that they usually wouldn't do. And this is something that's very common, and it's something that I see very often. And it's something that I almost experienced myself. So again, I'm sure a lot of us been in situations where we feel that we don't belong somewhere, because you have to listen to your spirit. Your spirit will tell you, everything. If you are in tune with yourself and you understand yourself, your spirit is your guide, and you have to always follow that. That gut instinct is not just your gut, it's your spirit. And so what that looks like sometimes is, sometimes we're with partners or friends or different relationships, and this all kind of, it could all tie and intertwine with loneliness. Loneliness is a pandemic. It's a very long lasting pandemic, but it's something that you have to be comfortable with. As I always say, you were born alone, you die alone. It's very comfortable to know who you are, and it's very comfortable to know who you are with nobody around. And to respect yourself in that manner, because there's going to be times where you're going to be put in situations where you have to stand up for yourself, and you have to remove yourself from situations that you don't belong. Never allow yourself to stoop to somebody else's level to your own detriment. Because again, it's only going to make things worse for yourself. Never lower your standards to fit in somebody else's circle when you're a square. If you are not meant to be there, you are not meant to be there. And that is for relationships, friendships, even familial, relationships as well. Because again, you're only hurting yourself. You are only harming yourself. You are only lowering your own standards. Never quiet yourself down when you're meant to stand out, just to be existing in a place because you don't want other people to feel uncomfortable, or you don't want other people to feel your own shine. If you are meant to shine, shine. But also too, never lower your standards, as I said, for anybody. Never engage in things that you do not like. Never say no if it's a no. and remove yourself from situations if you feel you are being forced, if you feel that you are being manipulated, peer pressured. All those things are very serious, especially growing up as a teenager, but even it happens anytime. Because again, it will be to your own detriment, and that will harm you in the long run, and it will haunt you until you address that. It will haunt you. And I see it so much, and it hurts because it's very sad because, again, we do these things because we want to be accepted. We do these things because we don't want to be alone. We want to fit in. You know, it feels nice fitting in. It feels nice being in the cool crowds. It feels nice, existing, with people just to not be alone because we can't address ourselves. Because when we're alone, we have to battle what's going on internally in our heads, but within our hearts as well. And it can feel like a storm that never goes away. But again, the more you get comfortable with yourself being alone, and the more you get comfortable with who you are at your core, the better it's going to be when you're surrounded by other people, because you're always going to want to protect your peace and protect who you are and protect yourself. Very, very, very important. Very prevalent, and it's a very important thing to learn. So what I encourage is to sit with yourself when nobody's around. Sit with yourself, put in headphones, journal, therapy, whatever it is, whatever is the way you self-soothe. Sit with yourself and ask yourself, who am I? Who am I at my core? What do I like? What makes me sad? What makes me happy? What makes me upset? What cools me down when I feel these things? How can I learn to love myself more? How can I learn to respect myself more? What does respecting myself look like? In situations where I feel my respect is being jeopardized, and I feel that I am being put in a predicament where I am going against what I believe in, how do I handle those situations? Go through drills if you have to. Constantly do these things all the time. Be comfortable with conversating with yourself, because I'm telling you, once you refine who you are at your core, nobody can shake you. And I'm being very serious. Because again, that is like the core, for building any type of relationship, as I said, whether it's a familial relationship, whether it's an intimate relationship, or whether it's a friendship. You must know who you are, and you must always respect that, because nobody will move you if that's the case. If you don't understand who you are, if you don't know what respect is and what respect looks like, then there can be people who can weasel into that, and they can form you to fit their own narrative, and they can form you to fit within their group. And if you are afraid of being alone, then you will lower your standards and stifle who you are to exist in other people's circles when you're meant to be a square. Stand out, understand your individuality, understand that we're all nuanced, respect yourself, love yourself to your core, stand with your head up high, and say no when it's a no. And if they do not respect who you are, walk away. Point blank, period.
So what would you say for people that are hesitant to try loving again and try opening up again? What would you say? What would you give advice to trusting again?
My advice to people who are afraid of loving again, who are afraid of failing, who are afraid of falling, trusting somebody, or giving yourself to somebody, here's what I would say. Why? Why are you afraid? Are you afraid because the last time you did it failed? Are you afraid because you've seen somebody else fail and you don't want that to happen to you? Are you afraid because you aren't confident in who you are and you feel that people are going to judge you? You're afraid of being judged? Are you afraid because you feel that you might wind up being alone again and you don't like being alone? You have to take that leap of faith. In life, sometimes the biggest opportunities are waiting for you to take that leap. And guess what? Sometimes you fall. You might take that leap and you might fall, but guess what? You have to get back up. People say this is cliche, but it's the truth. Anything in life, anything, whether it's a job, whether it's your dreams, whether it's loving again, putting yourself out there, it all comes with risks. But some of the best opportunities came with some of the greatest risks. And it's beautiful failing, because when you fail, you're able to pick yourself up. But each time, you should be getting stronger. You should always be getting stronger. Put yourself out there and love yourself. Because let me tell you this. When you love yourself and you have that unconditional love for who you are, and you have that unconditional love for everything about you, At the end of the day, anything that anybody can bring to you only adds to what's already there as a foundation. And once it's foundationally there within yourself, at the end of the day, if something fails, there's no love lost, because you still love who you are and you know what you bring to the table. And if that person couldn't love you for you, then they weren't meant for you. You weren't asking for too much. You were asking the wrong mother. So let me tell you something. Put yourself out there. Don't be afraid to fall, because understand this, that when you fall, even if nobody's there to pick you up, your foundation will keep you steady. And understand that if it wasn't meant to happen, it wasn't meant for you. And never feel like you're asking too much when you have standards, because when you love yourself, you have all rights to advocate for yourself, because nobody on this earth will advocate more for you than yourself. Nobody on this earth will ever love you more than you should love yourself, because you live with yourself. You know who you are. Don't be afraid to fall. Don't be afraid to take that leap. Don't be afraid to apply for that job. Don't be afraid to message that person. Don't be afraid to download that app. Don't be afraid to go outside. Don't be afraid to take that chance, because the greatest things in life come with the risk. Let me tell you that now. I know you're listening to me. I'm listening to myself. Let me tell you something. I'm looking at myself right now, listening to myself, because I need to hear this. Don't be afraid to take that risk, because let me tell you something. You're going to get stronger. And guess what? That might be your person. That might be your opportunity. That might be your moment. Okay? So just understand that life is so beautiful. Life is so amazing. And there's so much different people. You have to explore. You have to see what's out there for you. You have to know. You have to fall. You have to get back up. And sometimes, some people are so lucky that the first time they try, that's their person. If that's your person, that's your person. But let me tell you something. When you love yourself, it doesn't matter, because you're always going to love yourself. You're always going to be there for yourself. You're always going to take care of yourself. You're going to give yourself chivalry. You're going to court yourself. You're going to take yourself out. You're going to do self-care. Do those things, because anybody bringing something to you, they're just adding to what's already there. Okay, my beloved sisters, my beloved brothers, kings and queens, and people, and just everybody. I'm speaking from my heart. I'm speaking out of love. Just please love yourself first, because I'm telling you, everything will fall into place. Okay?
Yeah. I don't even know what to say after that. I agree. I feel like, I think everything just starts from within, honestly. And the foundation of love can't be shaken or broken once it's established. And I feel like every day that you choose to love, choose to walk in that vibration and walk in that essence, you're only attracting that, and there may be sometimes something like a curveball trying to throw you off course and stuff, but you have to stay the path, stay steady in that love frequency, stay steady with that open heart, and only good things will come, only blessings will reign after that, So I think that's good advice for sure.
So this is video 2 of JC Unfiltered. JC Unfiltered. How to love again, how to trust the process again, how to put yourself out there, and again, how to take that leap of faith. Take that leap of faith today. If you're coming across this video, today's the day. Today's the day for you. And I promise you that you'll thrive in whatever you put your mind to. Our minds are so strong when we use it the right way. And our hearts are meant to love. They were meant to hurt. We were meant to fall, and we were meant to get back up again. Because again, what doesn't kill you, it will always make you stronger. So love yourself. Love the skin you're in. Love, love, and love, and love, and love. Even when you get hurt, love again. Always love. I love you guys. And thank you guys for watching this video. Thank you guys for subscribing. And to my future followers, again, let us know what you want us to talk about. And let us know if you relate to this video. She's been dying to get in this video, so let me put her in this video.
Tell us what you want to hear about next in the comments. Tell us about your story of Heartbreak too. Mimi, say hi. Hi, baby. Hi, baby.
She's been dying to get in the frame, so let me just put her in the frame. She loves attention, guys.
Now she's acting right.
Let us know what you want us to talk about in the next video. We love ideas. Again, this is a judge-free zone. We want to talk about whatever relates to you guys, whatever's on your minds. Let us know in the comments. And to my future followers, future subscribers, we love you. And we just want you guys to thrive, and we want the best for you guys. May God bless every single one of you in your endeavors. And may you guys achieve your wildest dreams. And may you guys continue to move every foot forward, understanding that you are evolving and you are walking into your transformation. And if you come across this video today, today is your day. Kings and queens. That's it. Take care.
God bless.